Trump fires warning shot at North Korea. Tensions continued to rise between the US and North Korea this week when the communist nation announced that it would not stop testing nuclear missiles. Now, Donald Trump is countering by firing a warning shot at North Korea through his Vice President Mike Pence. Pence traveled to Seoul this week so that he could be at the front lines when issuing a warning that Kim Jong-un should definitely take seriously. The era of strategic patience is over, Pence said. President Trump has made it clear that the patience of the United States and our allies in this region has run out and we want to see change. We want to see North Korea abandon its reckless path of the development of nuclear weapons, and, also, its continual use and testing of ballistic missiles is unacceptable. Bam! This came as North Korea's Vice Foreign Minister Han Song-rae spoke out to say, "We'll be conducting more missile tests on a weekly, monthly and yearly basis." He added that all-out war would result if the US took military action. "If the US is planning a military attack against us, we will react with a nuclear preemptive strike by our own style and method," Han said. What do you think will happen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. The media is trying to hide the epic thing Trump did for women in Michigan. This is gross. This is a delicate subject, but one that must be discussed. FGM, or female genital mutilation, is happening here now. You read that right. And the Trump administration has shown its dedication to stopping this horrifying practice, one that is designed to keep women subservient to men. The media wants you to believe Trump hates women. More lies. Dr. Jumalan Agrala, a physician in Detroit, Michigan, was charged with mutilating the genitals of two 7-year-old girls from Minnesota, reports Newsweek. According to the report, FGM is a cultural practice, done in part to quell future sexual practices, and that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 500,000 women and children in America are at risk of being forced to undergo this procedure. What's really disgusting is that there's been a federal law in place since 1996, which criminalizes the practice in the United States and for transporting a girl out of the country to have the procedure done, but it's never been enforced. It's 18 U.S. Code Sec. 116. My guess? It wasn't politically correct to try to enforce the law, out of fear of being accused of religious persecution. Trump doesn't care about political correctness though. Because he does care about the health and safety of American women and children. The DOJ, under Donald Trump, recently announced a national campaign to eradicate the practice, reports Breitbart. But the media didn't want you to know. We do want you to know the real news. Let's get this out, y'all. We're tired of the media portraying Trump as anti-woman. John McCain is desperately trying to stop Trump's agenda. The U.S. Senator from the state of Arizona, John McCain has been desperately trying to sabotage President-elect Donald Trump's agenda by bad-mouthing his people. It seems like he is so full of hatred that he can't think straight. Maybe it is time for him to take his hatred and go away because this country does not need him impeding Trump's road to making America great again. From Angry Patriot Movement. Barack Obama in 2008 was determined by the conservatives as far left as they come. But this has quickly turned to fury as they have seen GOP leaders like John McCain do nothing. As per The Hill, it seems like President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, may face an uphill confirmation battle because McCain and other GOP leaders are concerned about his ties with Russia. McCain said that he and several of his colleagues have concerns about Tillerson and some of his past activities, specifically his relationship with Vladimir Putin. He also added that past his concerns, he will still give Tillerson an opportunity to make his case about why he is qualified to be Secretary of State. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee has 9 Democrats and 10 Republicans, and his confirmation could be blocked if just one Republican on that committee joins the 9 Democrats in voting against him. Apart from the fact that Tillerson has experience on the world stage as an oil executive, Donald Trump might have to pick someone else if Tillerson meets too much opposition. Condoleezza Rice on her Facebook account posted that Tillerson will represent the interests and values of the United States with resolve and commitment. he will lead the exceptional men and women of the State Department with respect and dedication. It would be a smart move for McCain to agree with Rice on this one because she certainly is qualified and well respected on both sides of the aisle. McCain's biggest problem has always been the fact that he is a career politician who has a desire to play to both sides of the aisle. He probably has just as big of an ego as Trump is reputed to have, but he is doing an excellent job hiding it. Trump's principle remains the same, nominating business people like Tillerson because they are actually doing things instead of just talking about them like typical politicians. Tell us what you think about all of this in the comments below. Share this post if you believe that our new president is doing the right things. Jared Kushner just made 3 words announcement about Kim Jong-un that is turning heads. Offering a stunningly blunt appraisal of the North Korean leader, Jared Kushner said on Tuesday that Kim Jong-un was a totally unqualified person who attained his position of power only through nepotism. Here you have a guy who has no government experience, and he's in charge of the whole thing, Kushner said, in an interview with Fox News. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. Kushner noted that, instead of working his way up and acquiring the skills necessary to do his job, the North Korean leader had been given huge responsibilities and power only because of family connections. There's only one word for that, he said: nepotism. Kushner called the notion of such an unqualified person conducting foreign policy beyond belief. I mean, why would you let someone with no experience in foreign affairs anywhere near such important decisions? Kushner added. Why would anyone take someone like that seriously? Kushner said that the people of North Korea must look at the powerful position attained by the totally inexperienced and unqualified Kim and shake their heads. They've got to be asking themselves, who elected him? He said. Breaking: Trump just fired WH Deputy Chief of Staff after discovering she stabbed him in the back. For months there has been constant chatter about White House leaks. These leaks have jeopardized national security, and all because the left and #Never Trumpers despise Trump. In February, a report was released that one of the leakers was White House Deputy Chief of Staff Katie Walsh. Now a breaking report reveals that President Trump has just fired Walsh after discovering her treasonous antics at the White House. GOT News previously reported. One source, in particular, stands out: Walsh is close to Maggie Haberman, a New York Times reporter who wrote fawning pro-Republican National Committee stories during the presidential election. Walsh has also planted stories in the Washington Post and Politico. Walsh is referred to as Madam President in the White House, says a senior aide. It isn't a compliment. Walsh would have significant access as she controls the president's schedule. There's also reportedly a trove of emails where Katie Walsh and Reince Priebus discuss how to rid themselves of Trump, according to a former #Never Trump consultant. The president and his allies have been deliberately feeding her fake information in order to find her network, says a source close to the president's family. It's been going well. Walsh was a #Never Trump Republican during the campaign. Neither Walsh nor her family were supporters during the campaign, says a source from Walsh's hometown of St. Louis. A White House investigation is planned into Walsh, who couldn't be reached for comment. Well, it looks like that investigation never comes since Walsh was removed from the White House this week. The Independent reported that Deputy Chief of Staff Katie Walsh was leaving the White House, but there appears to be much more to the story. This does not bode well for Reince Priebus. For instance, one ex-Trump aide speculated that Priebus is actually the next target. Reince Priebus is now a dead man walking, the aide said. The firing of Katie Walsh was a sign of desperation. President Trump was serious about draining the swamp, and he just flushed Katie Walsh out of there. These people need to realize that if they are against Trump, then they have no place in the White House. Let's keep draining that swamp and flush out all of these dirty rats. You're fired. Trump just flew to Wisconsin and told Paul Ryan the worst news of his life. Paul Ryan has always been an open borders globalist in the pockets of corporations who bring in cheap foreign workers. Ryan told CNN last year that he favors an endless supply of cheap foreign workers. He said reducing foreign visas is not in the agenda, and he blocked funding for the wall. Today, Trump flew to Wisconsin and got the ultimate revenge. President Trump specifically chose Paul Ryan's district to sign the executive order ending Paul Ryan's beloved H-1B foreign worker system as we know it. Paul Ryan didn't even show up, and it was in his own district. He claims it was because of a scheduling conflict, but why wouldn't he plan on being in his district when the president comes? Trump just showed who is in charge once again, and it's not the globalists like Paul Ryan. Share if you stand with President Trump against Ryan and the establishment. This was Paul Ryan just last year saying reducing foreign visas is not on the agenda. Contrast that with what President Trump said today. From Breitbart. No longer are we going to allow foreign countries to cheat our producers and our workers out of federal contracts, he said. He also called for H-1B visa reform, asserting that the current lottery system was wrong, and should be focused on only allowing in immigrants with the most skilled and highest paid applicants. No one can compete with American workers when they are given a fair and level playing field, which has not happened for decades, he said. President Trump can't work